back in?
Uh,
I'm sorry. I wanted to start a new recording because we weren't recording at that point. We were just in. Okay. So
Wait,
you
so
were
that
telling
was
me about.
you? I thought that was me. I was
It was me. It was me. It was
I
me.
was mad.
Yeah.
I was mad at my computer. But go ahead.
Okay. So you were saying some what? Some dude, some truck, some something?
No, the traffic guy from the news station around here. He changed his first name to Crash.
Oh my god.
Bro, who does that?
That's mostly the weather people do that, right? Like
Yeah,
Storm
Storm or
yeah.
Hurricane Jackson.
You gonna tell us the weather, or are you the undercard fight for tonight? All right, let's get some topics. So, what do we got here? Let's go last to first. I'm trying to see. Nope, can't talk about that one. Okay, I tweeted you, or I sent you this tweet. This is Amy Tarkanian, mom of 4. Hubs is Danny Tarkanian, former Nevada GOP chairwoman, TV political pundit and strategist, Gen X, and she tweeted out this is the final stage of wokeness.
Oh my goodness.
You know what? I'm going to hold this to the mic. We're going to do this super low tech right now. I'm going to start playing this through my mic.
The assumption that the best protein comes from corpses is a racist belief. How do you know the animal would have picked you to feed off their corpse? 21st century animal eating requires our complicity in a new colonialism.
Bro, I can't listen to her for more than 3 seconds. I'm sorry.
I was honestly trying to figure out.
Like she sounds like Deepak. No. I mean, I heard her fine. I could hear her loud and clear, but she sounds like a feminist Deepak Chopra.
So let's deconstruct Deepak over here.
Hamburger comes with a dose of misogyny.
Misogyny and racism from meat eating. Now, most of it is out of context. That's a lot of clips strung together. But how does one even get there?
Right, but if we don't have her full situation, then I'm sure we're missing something. Even though what we're missing probably doesn't make anything she's saying make sense, though.
Yeah.
Right, like so, it doesn't really matter what's missing.
She literally said, "The world is filled with references to sexy cows,
Yes,
sexy chicken, and sexy fishes." Bro, what Andy Spicer in the replies quoted that, and he said, "Perhaps you should stop visiting the bestiality category on Pornhub."
Brody,
That's fantastic.
but she's being dead serious.
You know, and honestly,
In front of
I didn't know who.
Isn't she in front of like that debate series?
Yes, this is at like Cambridge or Oxford or something. That's my assumption too. Yes.
Holy shit, bro! They should start to throw raw eggs at her.
I didn't even know who Amy Tarkanian was, so I didn't know how serious she was with her criticism of wokeness, and I certainly don't know who this lady is or the context of the rest of the debate. Honestly, for the clip is a minute 35. I honestly thought she was being satirical.
Right.
For most of it. Until the very end, the last clip was she turns to the audience and she says, like, "And I heard most of you laughing," and she tries to make some other point about something. Yeah, that was out of control.
There's really nothing to talk about there to me.
It's just like, how are you hurting that badly? I can understand, like, I guess you're an activist. I don't know if this is an animal feeling things. If it was coming from a place of vegetarianism or veganism is optimal for health, but even then, this stuff would be like ancillary, right? Like you wouldn't care. Your argument would just be, why are you doing something horrible for yourself? And not that eating meat is great, but yeah, I don't know. I'm lost. I really am just trying to advocate for her and or be her advocate, figure out why she would have done it, and I'm equally lost.
Yeah.
What else you got here? Oh, the the Latter-day Saints. You're using the Bible wrong.
Say it again.
So the whole thing is, how does the Bible talk about the Earth?
Oh, flat Earth.
Yeah. And
Did you watch that?
I did.
Or
I
some
did.
of it? Or oh my god.
I watched all of it.
Oh, actually, I sent you a screenshot of what I said to him. Correct?
You did. You did.
Bro, I wanted to go to Indiana, wherever that monkey lives, and just meds. Bro, like I was more disappointed than angry.
Yeah, so run through this for me. You say, number one, God exists, right? So we're talking about the framework
Of his thought process, yeah.
his supposed thought process. Number two, he created me for a purpose. Number three, my spirit is the medium by which I am connected to God. And then number four, I need a book and a human interpreter for that book to understand God's purpose for me and his purpose for his creation.
Right, because the foundation of his whole conversation is, hey, you guys are misunderstanding the book. So why would he create a book where it could be misunderstood? Like, he's saying that you're interpreting it wrong, and then he goes through this whole shit of sometimes it's literal, sometimes it's allegorical, sometimes it's, poetry. Like, how the fuck do you know? Right? And like, why would you? So you have to be somewhat of a narcissist to believe that God wrote this book, and you are one of the 144,000 people who can decipher it. And you know why I'm using that number, right?
Yeah, the people that'll be raptured or whatever.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, both ways, right? Like, number one, even to know that it requires interpretation, you're assuming you're one of the special ones. Worse, though, if you're the one who can tell us what's real and what's not. And how the hell would I tell the difference between anybody who's just doing it in their self-interest and someone who's really telling the truth? Yeah.
And why would God do that? Like, why would he say,
Exactly.
I want everybody to know how I feel about them, but I'm only going to tell a 0.5%.
That reminds me of that dude on, what's that show called, by the way, that British show? Where it was the reformed gangster who hallucinated God in prison.
Holy shit.
He was like, I was
dude, right? He was Asian, correct?
Yes, he was like, I was effing at him, and why are you effing at me?
Bro, that dude is certifiable. No, you know what? But he's crazy. Huh?
And he doesn't see it that way, right? Yeah.
But also there's a part of him who is also kind of like a con artist, like huckster. You know what I mean? Like, he knows what he needs to say. Like, he kept asking. No, you know what? Let me take that back, because he was asking some stupid ass questions like, "You atheist? What do you believe in?" What the fuck kind of question is that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. As a matter of fact, I was listening to something today, and the dudes were like, oh, it was Sir Sick. I've sent you one or two of his like videos or whatever, but he was like, you know how some theists say, oh, you're an atheist, you actually do believe like atheism is a religion or something like that. He was like, like some theists say, well, rocks are atheists. He was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, if a rock can't be a theist, then a rock can't be an atheist.
Absolutely.
But anyway, it just goes back to what the dude was saying. Like, I say it all the time, and I will not back down. They're a danger to themselves and others. And just to kind of like veer a little bit off, but stay on topic. You know how like Matt Dillahunty and a couple other people, they were like, yeah, don't call religious people crazy. They're not automatically delusional. I understand if you don't want to use the word crazy, but you have to be able to use the word delusional.
It is really difficult. You want to come from a place of not insulting anyone, because that destroys any.
That's not particularly what we're talking about, right? We're not talking about whether or not in a conversation you should say, "Hey, you delusional asshole, get out my face."
But either way,
Whether
right?
or
Like
not
even when you're talking about people,
okay,
right?
okay.
Because
Even parenthetically though, like
yeah, I just think I rather come from a place, no matter how angry I'll get in my head or what I'll think about how these people are attempting to think and attempting to reason. Yeah, I don't want to immediately jump to, even if I agree with you, right? Like even if I'm like, that is the craziest, that is the most delusional. I'm trying to say, okay, but is there a way to go about it?
right. So, but there's a difference between crazy and delusional, right? Right.
Even if you say someone's delusional, imagine someone saying that to you, Paul. You're delusional, or the things that this person Paul believes are delusions. They're delusional. Like
Whoa, right? So you made my point for me, right? So delusions have a definition, and if you believe in something that is not consistent with the reality that we can share, and you don't even have a reasonable ability to approximate evidence or communication of said experience, occurrence, phenomenon, are you not is that not a delusion? So like I just don't want to throw words away and act like they don't exist because it's going to hurt somebody's feelings. Like if somebody doesn't smell good, they stink. We can't go around saying I don't want to say you stink. Let's just say that I'd rather hold my nose when you're in proximity.
no. The problem is, like, let's go back to that guy in particular. We should find the name of that show. Is it called
Big
Q&A?
Think or something like that?
Oh yeah.
No. Maybe it is Q&A answers or something. It's something. I forget.
Yeah, I don't know what that show's called. Anyway, so that dude in particular, right? We're talking about him, and people, I don't want to say went after him, but that was the way they tried to very kindly just say, how can you rule out the possibility that you weren't hallucinating? But we're talking about him saying he heard the voice of God. Having a conversation with him is what he kept saying. He was cursing someone. I guess he was cursing God's name. And he heard then this voice say, "Why are you cursing me? Why are you effing me?" Which was the language he kept using. And then he said, I initially thought it was one of my whatever cellmates, and I was going to have to go in there and rearrange his face. And he heard him a second time, and then at that point, and he goes into the whole, I felt two emotions simultaneously. I felt joy and I felt sadness, right? And he was weeping, but he wasn't sad. Like, he was trying to describe how real this was to him, right? So we would say you're deluded, right? Like you could have been hallucinating, but the same way, right? He's reacting. He's saying, "No, I'm not. That's real to me." It's
right, but in no universe is that evidence of anything. Like that's like leaping to a conclusion. That's the leaping to conclusions, Matt, that they would sell in Office Space.
Office Space, yeah.
Bro, you can't say I felt two emotions at the same time. There, mic drop. That's what he did. He said, "Have you felt that?"
Exactly.
Like, come on,
and that was what was really bad. Was he said, and this is just a terrible. The irony of not being able to provide evidence. He said, when you can prove to me that you have felt two emotions at the same time, then I'll believe you. How do I do that, Doc? What's the criteria? I just say that I felt two emotions?
Bro, he's a crazy person. Like I don't because okay, so you're only doing this because we're talking about religion. Right, you wouldn't do this if we were talking about medicine, flat earth, construction of a building. If he was an architect and he was saying, bro, if you put your two fingers on this brick, it's not going to fall down.
Yeah. I've used plastic straws before. Get out of my way. We're building a building.
But and I get it, right? In your mind, you're thinking of, oh, well, this is how I'm going to bridge this gap in this conversation. And I get it. Like, you don't want to alienate. I totally get it. But at some point in time, you have to at least be honest with people. You have to be honest with people. And you can use the least provocative words, but you have to be honest. Because if you're not honest, whether we're talking about religion or bigotry and injustice, then people are going to feel more comfortable where they are when they shouldn't feel comfortable where they are. Because what they're doing and what they're thinking is just abjectly delusional.
Yeah, I get it. Call a spade, so to speak, but it's very tough to recover that, right? I do want to be able to reach people who are subject to believing these delusions, right? For thinking this guy has a point, for hearing this guy's story and turning to another person and be like, I just heard this guy and he heard God. And then the two of them go, yes, I've heard other people say those types of things, right? Like, alienate's a perfect word. Once it's people who believe that that's enough evidence, word of mouth, versus you and I. Yeah, I don't know. It's really tough. So I do want to be careful how we talk about it. But I agree, right? Offhand, he provides zero evidence. Telling me a story where you heard a voice and you think you simultaneously felt two emotions at once does nothing to advance the case that.
So
Really...
zero evidence is different. So let's just make this a courtroom real quick. And somebody was murdered, and he comes in and he says that he got to the center of the Tootsie Roll Pop with only 2 licks. So obviously Maurice did it.
And that owl's a liar.
So that's not zero evidence. That is offensive and asinine evidence. Yo, I don't know, but I don't like this guy, so I want him to go to jail. That's zero evidence. He says, no, he did it, and I can prove it. Look at this lollipop. Look at it. Just look at it. Have you
Is that not the center?
And yellow together? Together in harmony? No, I'm just it's a non sequitur.
Yeah.
And it's a confident non sequitur, right? That's the difference, right? The real difference is so if somebody was ignorant and just was whatever, but they were literally open to say, okay, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? He is not open to that. He is not open to have it like I'm not going to talk about what we talked about earlier, but like that.
Sorry. I would just love to have that. Anyway, go ahead.
But like in that moment, obviously later it changed, but in that moment, they were so convinced of what they were based on their emotional situation that it didn't matter. Feelings. Nothing more than anyway. Yeah, man, like no, I don't have any patience for that because you're a grown person. You're a grown person. And I'm not cursing at you. I'm not saying that you should be banished. I'm willing to have a conversation with you, but you have to be able to take it on the chin when you say things like, I had 2 emotions at once. What?
That's like when Neo woke up and he's like, I know Kung Fu.
Okay, well, I mean, you don't get a belt automatically. You have to prove that.
But going back to the LDS Church guy, right, and the whole thing about...
Was he a Latter-day Saint?
I think he mentioned, yeah. And then eventually he did say, he showed some quotes about the Book of Mormon. Oh, okay. The one quote from Scripture was like, the Bible's not infallible and the Book of Mormon's not infallible, and just, I don't know what. But what strikes me as odd about the defense that all of a sudden you can say, yeah, of course the Bible can be wrong, and you got to know when it's wrong, apart from what we just covered, right? Because how do we know that you're the guy that figures out what's wrong from what's not wrong? We're talking about a passage where it says the earth is a flat disc, it's on 4 pillars, and it's got a dome to, quote, separate the waters above the firmament from the waters under the firmament.
Where did the water come from?
Well, my point is
Because
like,
God did not create water. Remember,
I don't even care about
the
that. at that
beginning
point.
is there was a calm over the waters of the deep of Middle Earth. Yo, all I can think of is Sauron right now. Like, come on, dude. It's almost like the universe conversation. Even if you talk to a scientist, like I actually hate when somebody who believes in science or a scientist will say we're working on understanding how big the universe is or where it began and stuff like that. Like, if you aren't smart enough to realize that you'll never know everything, like literally never know, you can't know everything because there's gotta be, like, when you get to the beginning, something happened before that. And I know they say, well, it doesn't make sense to talk about time outside the construct of prior to the Big Bang because the Big Bang is where our time began. But that's our time.
I'm not even gonna go there because I literally just watched a video with Alex O'Connor and one of your favorites, William Lane Craig, and talking about the what is it? The Kalam.
Yeah. I actually was just watching that myself. I didn't send that to you, so we just happened to be both watching it at the same time.
I don't know if I got a notification or if you sent it to me, but yeah. Yeah, it gets super philosophical, and it is literally about the existence of time. I don't know how to talk in that language, so I'm not even going to attempt. My going back, just taking this back to the passage itself, and I know you wanted to cover being able to say we don't know or I don't know, or I think that's where you were going with that. But just the ridiculousness of, forget that you even said, right, like we're talking about it out of sequence and how the Bible actually sets up creation. Bro, when you start saying things that 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years later are just laughably and observably incorrect, that's why you all of a sudden you flip everybody for real and you say, no, of course parts of it are wrong. Because you're staring at it going, yeah, if I don't admit that this was wrong, if I stick to it, like, because he also quoted whatever, Christian websites or whatever, he kept saying that stick to their guns. Super fundamentalist, the Bible cannot be wrong, and presumably they believe that that's exactly what the earth looks like, with a dome and waters above it and waters below and whatever. And he's like, no, we can't be like that because it's observably laughable 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years later. It's almost like it's an appeal to the more reasonably minded, where it's like, look, we're not delusional. We know the earth is round, right? We know the earth is a globe. We know there's not a firmament, but it doesn't mean that the book is wrong everywhere. And it doesn't mean that there's not.
Well, it's not wrong anywhere. Remember, he said it's not wrong anywhere. Right? So, yeah, he said it's not wrong.
I lost that then. I need to watch that because
it's not wrong
he switches to the whole, it's a tool, and if you don't know how to use it.
Right, so that's where he does the whole allegory versus literal deal.
I mean, so allegory is wrong. It's factually wrong. It still has a purpose.
It's an allegory because he's taking away the responsibility of being accurate, right? So if you're
correct.
Huh?
Yeah, correct, right? Like, so he's saying, like, no, we're not trying to be right and describe the
reality, right. So he's not saying that I'm wrong. That's what I'm saying. He's not saying, oh, that's wrong, because we're not trying to be right. But once again, that goes back to him and his ability to say, you know what? I can tell you the truth.
Yeah, this is the allegory. This is for real.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Bro, I really missed that show. I really want that to come on again.
There were elements of it that were okay.
Okay. Let's not do this on our first.
No, we're going in on this.
No, because
you tell me what's so great about the Mandalorian.
Bro, it's a fucking Mandalorian. Now watch your mouth. Is that not good enough evidence for you, fucker? No. Bro, whenever I watch it, I have two emotions at the same time.
I was just gonna say, when he let Grogu go, he felt sadness and he felt joy. because he didn't have to take care of that little green bastard anymore.
Oh god, that's funny.
No, it's not for me. I wanted to like it. I know a lot of people that are into the Star Wars canon and universe and whatever.
But I can not like things. I'm willing to not like things. The Mandalorian was the jump off for me. Like I liked almost every episode. I can't think of any bad episodes. Now the new thing with Boba Fett,
Yeah,
it's not that great to me.
that's how I felt about the Mandalorian, and I feel the same way about the Book of Boba Fett. Mandalorian first episode, I was all in. Number one, the theme song is one of the best show songs in a long time, so I appreciated that.
I mean, it's a little jingle, right? It's just really just a little jingle, right? It's not a whole.
No, because in the closing credits, it plays a decent part of it, a minute and a half.
But right, isn't it just a loop of maybe, I don't know, 30 seconds?
It's not. Maybe 30 seconds. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that pulls you in, and I don't even remember what the first episode was about and how they set it up. But I felt like, oh, okay, intrigue. But just after that, there is a great internet video. I don't want to call it viral. I will send it to you. Maybe we'll put it in here. Perfectly describes.
No, because if I had something negative to say, I'm good.
It's fantastic.
Hey, you're wrong, Colonel Sanders.
Alligators Sarlacc monsters are ornery because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
Mama was right. Mandalorian is great.
I couldn't. It was just one silly quest after another, and it was a little over the top. I think I mentioned this to you before. It just reminded me of like the production quality of what was that show called? Stargate. I was like, oh,
yeah, I
this
didn't watch
weird.
Stargate, but okay.
Me neither, but every time I saw parts of it, it's just, yeah. I don't know.
Okay, let's just move on, because you're making me not want to be your friend. So come on.